Welcome to part 2 of Mega Man 2 from the Wily Wars, and now we're going on to Airman. I'm pretty sure everyone knows about that Airman Gad Twice and I, however the fuck you pronounce it, song, but Airman isn't hard, so can people stop pretending it is, please? I'm hoping that kind of song was being ironic, because Airman really isn't difficult at all. But yeah, there's me just using Flashman's weapon to cheese my way past the entire opening. Which, there are sections like it later on, but that's probably the most annoying one. So, I might as well just skip that and get it out of the way for now. But yeah, here we see Zeus on his cloud, reappearing as a robot for some reason. And these sections here, I remember when I first played this game, the original version of Mega Man 2, I used to get really frustrated with trying to make jumps, but now I kind of got them completely down off the top of my head now, where the different clouds float to and that, so it's like a simple pattern really. But yeah, I can see how like the clouds blocking off the view of certain things could annoy people, because you're trying to make your jumps, quite specific jumps, over the top of a bottomless pit, and you're working around these different clouds that are in your way. That could get quite annoying if you're not too sure of how the level layout works. But yeah, these guys here can get really annoying because they're just that little bit off screen that you can't quite see them. And so you're getting blown back by their fans, and I'm pretty sure that resets their health if they go off screen as well. So you've just got to keep on shooting and get lots of hits in while he's still on the screen. And as you can see, I'm having a bit of trouble doing so right now. So just got, there we go, just have to hope for the best I think with a lot of these like annoying enemies. At least he's a bit closer this time. I quite like Airman's musical theme. I also quite like this particular rendition of it, because it works well with the Mega Drive sound font that they've got going on here, so it just sounds nice to me. But yeah, Airman is weak to Woodman's weapon. I think the logic here is supposed to be that the leaves kind of clog up his fan, which, when you think from my perspective, which I've grown up with Pokemon, that would imply that grass is weak to flying, but you know, there's logic behind it, I suppose. In fact, I'm trying to think of what the logic behind grass being weak to flying is actually in Pokemon, because it doesn't really add up. Like, most of the type weaknesses you can think, like grass being weak to fire, that makes sense because fire burns the grass, or fire being weak to water because the water puts out the fire. But then you got like, do birds have some sort of natural strength over plants or something? Maybe it's because birds eat plants, but that's kind of pushing it a bit when you think a gust attack could kill them or something. I don't know, I'm rambling. But yeah, we've got item 2, which is probably the most useful of the items for skipping past difficult sections, really. Like, obviously, item 1 is mandatory in a later stage, but I mean in terms of like making the game a little bit easier for you. This is me slowly deciding who to go next, and I'm going to go to Bubble Man stage, because Bubble Man is a complete joke. You'll see when I actually get to fighting him, he's no challenge whatsoever. And I'm so glad they changed the background in this particular version of his level, because in the original NES game, this background looked absolutely horrible. It quite often would literally hurt my eyes to look at the background in the NES version, because it was just like a bright blue with a bright white doing this kind of water motion, and yeah, it kills me eyes. So this looks a lot cleaner, which I approve of. Now there is a little trick with these frog enemies. If you keep one of the like little frogs alive, then the next big frog won't shoot out any more little frogs until the little frog's either killed or off-screened. So you can do that to like make it easier for yourself, so you only got one to kind of look out for rather than 3. Oh hi you guys, random lobsters. And now this thing, I haven't tested this myself to confirm, but I believe in this version of the game the explosion does hurt you if you walk through it as it's blown up. Whereas in the NES one it doesn't. Which is again a weird thing to change, but that might actually be implying that it was supposed to hurt you from the first place. Except it just sort of didn't for whatever reason. Now in Bubble Man's stage, in this particular Spike Aquarium section, you've got to be very cautious to remember that you are playing Mega Man 2 and not Mega Man 3 onwards. Because I have died in the past where I instinctively go to slide under these small sections, and obviously in Mega Man 2, Mega Man doesn't have the slide ability, so even if you're holding down and then press A, it will still make Mega Man jump. And you will jump straight into the spikes like a complete tit. Yeah, these crabs are nothing to worry about, just sort of run past them. Now we're getting to Bubble Man himself. I think the most difficult part of this particular boss is that Bubble Man has spikes on the ceiling, so you got to be careful not to jump too high. In the rematch section in the boss rush later on, I don't actually think the spikes are there, so in that particular rematch you have no challenge whatsoever, you have no excuse for losing to him. I'm not sure about when he comes back in Mega Man 3, because obviously there's the Doc Robot sections in that stage. I think they actually made him a little bit more challenging in Mega Man 3, I'm not too sure off the top of my head, mind. But yeah, Bubble Man's weapon is the Bubble Lead. Bubble Lead? Bubble Lead, I'm not sure. But nevertheless, is Clash Man. Now, you might know this guy as Crash Man, because that's what he is in English versions of the game. But here is Clash Man, which is something that's been mistranslated along the line. I actually prefer the name Crash Man because it just feels kind of more like there's more of an action going on, like he's crashing into shit or whatever. But like his real name is Clash Man. Crash Man's theme is so funky, I love it, like really upbeat and cheerful. And that's what. There's a certain sense of, I guess, irony in the Mega's cover of it, in that that's like, they take this really upbeat, funky, melody, and, make it darker with a heavy guitar and deep bass and that. And, the lyrics are about how Crash Man basically kills himself and, commits suicide, and that's so that Mega Man can make his way to Wily, because all he's programmed to do is fight, so he has to stop himself before he prevents Mega Man. That's some genius writing, I think. The story in itself, the story interpretation Megas gave these characters. That's one reason why I really like that band. It's not just that they do really good covers of the Mega Man songs, but it's also that they add so much character to these robots that are otherwise just things for Mega Man to shoot. But yeah, you're seeing here what highlights this slowdown so much. It takes Mega Man so long when he's on them moving platforms, especially because I had the wood shield weapon going. That really slows the game down. Oh look, we're going up to a higher place to fall off of. It's almost like a robotic Shadow of the Colossus, but you know. This is basically ladders to the level. You spend a lot of time just sort of climbing here. And it's annoying when the bird enemies drop their eggs here, because obviously I've got the metal blade, but if they land somewhere where it isn't directly in the metal blade's kind of reach, then you're basically screwed and you got to take the hit. Or you could just stupidly jump into the bird, one of the two. But yeah, if you go that way, you get yourself an E-Tank. And because I've got the item 2, I don't have to go back down and redo that section on the other side. I can just sort of use that skip there. Now, I think I'm going to use this section again to farm for some more energy. yeah, I'll skip past that for your interest and mine, really. But I think I'm going to go out of my way to get that life that I don't need anyway, because that's kind of how I do things. Worst LP ever, but still. I was talking about Crash Man's theme. This is another song I think benefits from the Mega Drive sound font, because it makes it smoother, but that works with the whole sort of funky sort of sound to it. I don't know, maybe it's a personal thing. But this guy, remember we're on difficulty here. 3 hits, and he's dead. What you gotta do with Crash Man, just get up really close when you use Airman's weapon on him. Because he will try to jump, I think, as soon as you shoot. So if you wait till he's up close to you, then his jump won't dodge it in time. And now, we've got just one more Robot Master to go over. And it's everyone's favourite Zippo lighter. You know, as a Dwayne and Brando, Capcom really didn't spend much time on you. This is a theme that I never really had that much appreciation for until I heard the Mega's take of it called Man on Fire. I just think they made it a lot more... They made the main melody a lot more prominent than I think the actual game version does, and so now I hear the melody more. I don't know, I'm weird with music if you can't tell. But yeah, that looks dangerous. I'd rather not fall down there, eh? I'm well aware I've made this joke in playthroughs before, but fuck it. Yeah, I believe that, yeah, the Woodman weapon gets rid of these irritating little floor enemies, so it's always useful to get them out of the way. Heatman's weapon itself is actually strong against Woodman, but I kind of just stick to using the metal blades because they work just as well. And thinking back, I've covered this game for the internet so many times now. I remember I did that, like, there's obviously the main FlameHisWorld playthrough of it that I did with the others. There was that stupid Game Genie cheat playthrough I did, and I've streamed it once as well. I just can't get enough of this game, really. Although it has its problems, I'm not going to claim that it's like a perfect Mega Man game, like I do for Mega Man X, by the way, but it's just fun, and it's probably the most accessible Mega Man game as well, for like at least for complete newbies to the series. Especially the NES version with that normal difficulty, because you can just get through that so easily. But it's just kind of fun to have like an easy run through of a game sometimes. Just if you want to switch your brain off for a bit and just sort of play through, it's a great game for that. And that's something I think Mega Man benefits from in general, in that although people say the games in general are quite hard, at least they're casual friendly in that you can just rush through them with basically no care like I do. Because as opposed to like say Mario where you only get like a couple of hits before you're dead, or Sonic where you got to keep all the rings, you get a lot of leeway for like taking hits in Mega Man. Like, that's a pretty big health bar. You can just sort of run through and you'll probably be safe most of the time. But yeah, this guy's weak to the bubble lead, so just shoot that at him a few times. He will try to stop underneath you if you're mid-jump, so just bear that in mind when you're fighting him. And he'll go down pretty easy, as you saw there. But yeah, we got Heatman's weapon, and that's all the Robot Masters down. So now we've done that, I shall see you next time for the Wily Castle stages. See you then.